The TextButton widget in Flutter is a simple button that contains a text label and responds to user taps. Text buttons are commonly used for actions that are less prominent compared to raised buttons or outlined buttons. The TextButton widget is customizable, allowing developers to adjust attributes such as text color, background color, and text style. Text buttons are typically used for actions like navigation, confirmation, or toggling settings within an app's interface. One advantage of text buttons is their simplicity and minimalistic design, which can help maintain a clean and uncluttered UI. Text buttons can be styled to fit seamlessly into different app themes and design languages, making them versatile for various applications. Implementing a text button is straightforward in Flutter, requiring only a few properties such as onPressed and child. For the button's text label, text buttons are often used in conjunction with other widgets, such as alert dialogues, to provide users with options to confirm or cancel actions. Developers can customize the appearance of text buttons using themes to ensure consistency across the entire app. Text buttons support internationalization and localization, making them suitable for apps targeting diverse audiences, in addition to plain text. Text buttons can also display rich text, including formatted text, icons, or even widgets. Text buttons support various text alignment options, allowing developers to align the button text according to the app's design guidelines. Text buttons can be disabled to prevent user interaction when certain conditions are not met, such as incomplete form fields or unavailable features. The onPressed callback of a text button allows developers to define the action to be performed when the button is tapped. Text buttons are an accessible UI component, providing users with a clear indication of tappable elements within the app. Developers can specify custom padding for text buttons to adjust the spacing around the button's text label. Text buttons are responsive to touch interactions, providing visual feedback to users when pressed. The elevation property of text buttons can be adjusted to create a sense of depth and hierarchy within the app's UI. Text buttons can be styled using Flutter's built-in themes or customized using custom themes to match specific branding requirements. Text buttons support various shape options, including rectangular, rounded, and circular shapes, allowing developers to achieve the desired button aesthetics. Flutter provides built-in support for hover effects on text buttons, enhancing the user experience on platforms that support hover interactions. Text buttons can be grouped together using row or column widgets to create button clusters for related actions. Developers can use the splash color property of text buttons to customize the color that appears when the button is tapped. Text buttons support long press interactions, allowing developers to implement context menus or additional actions triggered by prolonged button presses. Text buttons are compatible with Flutter's gesture detector widget, enabling developers to implement custom gestures or behaviors for advanced interactions. Developers can adjust the size of text buttons by specifying custom constraints or wrapping them with sized box widgets. Text buttons support animations and transitions, allowing developers to add visual effects when buttons are pressed or interacted with. The shape property of text buttons can be customized to create unique button designs, such as rounded corners or custom shapes. Developers can specify custom animations for text buttons using Flutter's animation framework to create engaging button interactions. Text buttons support dynamic text scaling, ensuring that button labels remain readable and accessible across different screen sizes and resolutions. Flutter provides built-in support for responsive layout design, allowing text buttons to adapt to changes in screen orientation or device size. Developers can implement custom touch feedback effects for text buttons using Flutter's Inkwell widget to provide users with visual cues during interactions. Text buttons support keyboard shortcuts and focus management, enabling users to navigate and interact with buttons using keyboard input. Developers can use the elevation property of text buttons to create visually distinct button states, such as pressed or focused states. Text buttons can be styled using Flutter's theme data class to ensure consistent button appearance throughout the app. The shape property of text buttons can be customized using Flutter's shape border class to create buttons with complex shapes or outlines. Text buttons support text scaling and localization, allowing button labels to adapt to different languages and font sizes. Developers can use Flutter's Media Query class to retrieve device information and adjust text button properties accordingly, ensuring optimal button sizing and placement. Text buttons support the material design ripple effect, providing users with visual feedback when buttons are pressed. Developers can customize the splash color property of text buttons to create unique touch feedback effects, such as gradient or animated splashes. Text buttons can be grouped together using Flutter's Wrap widget to create button grids or layouts for displaying multiple buttons. Developers can use Flutter's theme data class to define custom button themes, including text color, background color, and shape properties. Text buttons support the material design elevation system, allowing developers to specify the elevation level for buttons to create a sense of depth in the UI. The hover color property of text buttons can be customized to change the button color when users hover over them, providing additional visual feedback. Text buttons support the Inkwell widget's on-tap property, allowing developers to define custom tap behaviors or animations for buttons. The TextButton widget in Flutter provides a simple yet effective way to create clickable text elements within your app's user interface, unlike traditional buttons that may contain icons or complex visual elements. TextButton focuses solely on displaying text that users can interact with. TextButton is highly customizable, allowing developers to specify various properties such as text style, padding, and on-pressed callback. By using TextButton, you can create interactive elements like hyperlinks, action buttons, or prompts within your app's UI. TextButton supports text formatting options such as font size, color, weight, and alignment, enabling precise control over the appearance of text elements. With the on-pressed callback, developers can define actions to be executed when users tap on the text button, such as navigating to a new screen or performing a specific task. TextButton supports dynamic text generation, making it suitable for scenarios where the text content needs to be updated based on user input or app state changes. Implementing accessibility features in TextButton ensures that users with disabilities can interact with the app's UI effectively. Enhancing inclusivity. TextButton can be used in combination with other Flutter widgets to create complex UI elements, such as lists, dialogues, or navigation draws. By encapsulating TextButton within other widgets like row, column, or container, developers can create custom layouts and designs for their app's UI. TextButton is part of the material design language in Flutter, ensuring consistency and familiarity for users accustomed to Google's design principles, with proper styling and theming. TextButton can seamlessly integrate into your app's overall visual aesthetic, enhancing brand identity and user experience. The on-pressed callback of TextButton can be used to trigger animations, transitions, or other visual effects to provide feedback to users upon interaction. TextButton supports internationalization and localization, allowing developers to display text content in multiple languages to cater to a global audience, by utilizing Flutter's state management techniques. Developers can dynamically enable or disable TextButton based on app state changes or user actions. TextButton can be used in conjunction with Gesture Detector to handle more complex user interactions, such as long press or double tap gestures, with the flexibility of Flutter's layout system. Developers can position TextButton widgets precisely within their app's UI using features like row, column, stack, or positioned. TextButton's on-pressed callback can be used to trigger form submissions, confirmations, or other user-initiated actions, providing a seamless user experience. Properly handling TextButton's on-pressed callback ensures that users receive immediate feedback upon tapping the button, enhancing responsiveness and perceived performance. TextButton is fully customizable, allowing developers to define custom shapes, borders, and backgrounds to match the app's design requirements, by incorporating animations and transitions. Developers can add visual flair to TextButton interactions, making them more engaging and intuitive for users. TextButton can be used to create interactive elements in app bars, bottom navigation bars, lists, or dialogues, enhancing navigation and user interaction. Implementing hover and focus states for TextButton ensures a consistent user experience across different input methods and device types, with Flutter's hot reload feature. Developers can iterate quickly on the design and functionality of TextButton widgets, speeding up the development process. TextButton's simplicity and versatility make it a valuable tool for creating interactive text elements within Flutter apps, enhancing usability and user engagement.